Hello and welcome back to the I Vike It podcast. My name is Craig. As you can probably hear from my voice, I'm not sounding particularly good today. I've come down with something. So it's quite fitting, I think, that my guest today is a Völva from Ribe in Denmark. So welcome to the show, Gudrun Victoria Gotved.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully I got your name correct.
Well, as correct as an Englishman can do. So it was quite good, yes.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good place to start, really, as a Völva. If I was to come and see you with my sickness, what would you recommend that I do?
I would absolutely recommend elderberry because elderberry, it has some stuff in it that prevents viruses to get into the body. Elderberry is one of the best you can do for viruses.
So that's best to take that before you get the sickness rather than...
Yeah, but it can also shorten the sickness.
Yeah.
To get well better. But if you have the cold, then that must be thyme. That would be really good. That takes away your cold.
Yeah.
So, and licorice for the throat. Licorice always.
Licorice.
Good. Yes.
You had to recommend that. You're Danish, right?
Probably, yeah.
Oh yeah. We came to Denmark last year. We actually came to Ribe.
Hey.
I recorded some podcasts. I'm sure you know Anso.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know the Zebitzes as well?
You what you say?
There's Zebits. There's a family called Zebits.
Yeah, they're really great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I spent some time cooking with them. They cooked us some horse. But yeah, we ended up eating way too much licorice.
You can't have too much licorice.
So I guess in case anyone listening doesn't know, I guess would it be a good place to start is if you explain what a Völva is or what a Völva does?
Well, a Völva is a kind of a shaman, but I don't like to use the word shaman for other than those who are from the Mongolian people and from the Siberia, because we have different names for people who do like I do and like the shamans do. So I make healing both with herbs and with my hands, and I read runes. Not prediction, because nobody will be happy of knowing the future, but it's good advices. I make some ritual called the Seder, which are a trance traveling. I'm not using a drum. I can use a drum, but normally I use the song and the staff. And then go into a trance to the other reality to ask the spirits for advices and for what will come. That is basically what I do.
And largely you do that based around Ribe, or is it in various locations?
It's in various locations. I'm employed in Ribe. Former time I was employed full-time. I'm not anymore, so I'm only there when they need what I can do. So mostly I do it from my home. I also have other jobs, have to say that. I cannot live from being a Völva, and it's okay. And another thing I also do is Galdra, and Galdra is magical songs. And I use them for healing, mostly for healing.
And you're also, probably worth mentioning, you're an Ásatrú practitioner, and you've got at least one book I know of, Ásatrú Norse Spirituality.
That's true. That's the only one who's out in English by now, but I have done 3 books, 2 more in Danish, and also I have done, they're finished now, a deck of oracle cards with Norse gods, and they will come in this month, and they are both in English and Danish, and I'm looking so much forward for them because they will be so fantastic.
Yeah, we'll have to, maybe if you've got time, I will have to get you on for my other show at some point, because we're going to do an episode on the tarot.
Okay, yeah.
And so it might be worth getting you to come on and talk about your new deck when it comes out as well. But we can talk about that as a separate.
That would be perfect,
thing. Yeah. So I guess it'd be interesting to know how you became, I guess, a Völva and also got into Ásatrú. So I guess where did your kind of knowledge of these things come from originally?
I think it has been there all my life. My dad was an Ásatrú follower. We did not make any rituals when I was a kid. We didn't know that there was other Ásatrú followers. My siblings are not Ásatrú followers, but I found for me that was the right way to see the world. The pictures that are put up in the Norse mythology was so much more my world than the Christian pictures. So therefore I followed the old gods, and I think I was around 30 when I found out there was other Ásatrú followers, and we started Ásatrú communicated union here in Denmark. And I have always been interested in especially herbs from I was totally small kid. So I collected everything about healing herbs I could get. And I was also reading a lot of sources from the Norse mythology. So when I was around 30, I started with some Viking reenactment. And I found out in the same way there was other Ásatrú followers. And in the Viking reenactment, they started to call me the Völva because I had a huge knowledge, both about the mythology and the sources and about herbs and healing and stuff like that. And then, you know, a Völva is not something you can be just to be educated. It's something that is in your basic way of being. And then you will, on your path, you will meet the teachers you need. You cannot say, okay, there's an education, now I can become a certified Völva by studying for 1 year online. No, it's not possible. You will get some knowledge, yes, but being a Völva is you need to have a huge urge to help people. That is the drive that you really want to help. And that is what I do with my healing. I never charge for healing because, no, if people to give me a donation, it's okay, but I do not charge. For my rune reading, I charge, but not for healing because it's a gift I got. I'm not educated in any way. I just do what the spirits tell me to do. But, you know, you meet the teachers you need on the way. And I have met a lot of wise people on my way, and they have taught me a lot of stuff. And I listen to the spirits, and they also help me a lot. So I will say now, yes, I'm a Völva now. I was not when I started in the Vikings. But they call me a Völva, and that is also a thing. You are a Völva when other people call you a Völva.
So you can't call yourself a Völva?
You can, but you have to be called it first.
Okay.
First, you need to have people to go to you and use you as a Völva also.
Sure. So does the knowledge that you have, as you say, you've taken it from lots of different teachers and things like that. So does it have any kind of historical precedence to it? So is this the same kind of practice we would have seen in the Viking Age?
Probably yes, but we don't know because there's very, very little left about the Völva, and there's a little bit left what we did. We have some galdras, the magical songs left, but we don't have the tunes. So so I need to have the tunes from the spirits to use it right. And also with the Seder, we have one description how it was done. But it is not very accurate. So we have to do it, try it, and see how does it work. And for the Galdras, for example, my tune is maybe not the right tune for another person because that is my personal tune. When I make workshops in Galdra, and I always say to people, I will show you my tune, but the best is if you can get your own tune or make mine different. So make it your own.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you cannot copy it. So that is a thing about the runes. To be honest, I don't know. We don't know if the Völva in former times used the runes for good advices. We have some ideas. We have all the verses, the runic poems that tells about the rune. This rune means this, and this rune mean that. And we have a source from the beginning of our time, I think it was with the year 100. Tacitus, he came from Italy, and he came up to the north, and he made a description where he tells that there is this woman. She came with, she has some wooden thingies with some signs on, and from then they took omens.
Okay.
But we don't know if it was runes.
Yeah, but it sounds quite probable, I guess.
I think it.
Yeah.
I think they used it. They used runes as omens also. So,
yeah.
But I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the same with the Ásatrú. We do not do the same things, and we do not believe in the same way that they did. It's a modern religion today, and not a copy of the old one, because so much is lost, so we don't know.
And you mentioned before about coming across other people that were Ásatrú.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know really. Is there much of an Ásatrú following in Denmark? Is it a big thing, or?
It's not a big thing, no. But we are, and I don't know how many we are, because a lot of people don't want to be in connection with a lot of other people. It's a private thing for many.
Yeah, I get that.
So they want to be free. It's a free free thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as well, there's kind of a lot of people try to disconnect from Christianity and sort of a church and going somewhere and be outdoors more and kind of practice in nature.
Exactly.
Right? So
so
it's hard to say we have this many people that come to. It's not like you have services, is it? It's
exactly. So there are small groups around the whole country. So, but if I should make a guess, I will say 3,000 to 6,000.
Yeah.
In Denmark. So.
And I guess, so do a lot of people come across it in the same way you did, through historical reenactment? Was that
No. I think that is two very different things, and that's good you ask me, because it is a different thing. We have a lot of Viking reenactors who are not in any way Ásatrú, and we have a lot of Ásatrú followers who are not in any way Viking reenactors. So when we are making the services, we call it a bloat. Then people come in all kind of clothing. I normally use my Viking clothing, because when I stand there as the Godi, the one who perform the ritual, then I like to be in my Viking clothing. But a lot of other people, they come in clothing they just feel good in.
Yeah.
Could be jeans, could be suits, whatever.
So when did you first become involved? Did you go to Ribe initially? I think you said already, actually. So you didn't go to Ribe as a Völva, did you? That was later.
No.
So what did you initially go there for?
In Ribe, there's a Viking center in Ribe. And by then, when I was aware of the Viking reenactment and the Ásatrú followers, I lived in Copenhagen. So I was at the Viking market in Ribe because it was a thing. And then after some years, I moved back to Jutland, nearby Ribe, where I live now. It's my family farm. My great granddad, it was my great granddad built the farm. I moved back, and then I started in Ribe to work there. But already then I have been in the reenactment for 8, 9 years. And they called me a Völva, and I started to work there only in the summertime. And I was there for some years, and they started to call me Völva out there also. And I was the one who was in charge for the ritual, for all the spiritual stuff. And then I was educated full-time for many years. I was in charge of the garment, the clothing, making of that, and then some years ago I stopped with that. There was some changing, so I stopped, and now I'm there now and then. So
awesome. So does that, I guess, working in a place like Ribe with such historical significance, does that, I guess, in some way influence the way that you practice your Ásatrú belief or your
Nope.
even the way you hold a blot, anything like that?
Nope, absolutely not. Because those are two different things. Because one thing I can say for sure, we cannot say a lot of things for sure about Ásatrú now and the following of the old path then. But the way I perform a blot today is very, very different from what they did. And when I do rituals in Ribe, I do it in a different way than I do it when I make it at home with my friends.
Yeah. Is that in some way kind of a more public display? Is it more theatrical in some way? I don't know.
Not really, because
no,
I cannot do it as a theater. When I started in Ribe, I had a lot of thoughts about if I should do it, because I don't want it to be a theater. And then I took that state that I would do it because then it would not be a theater. And my boss by then, he was sometimes very annoyed because he said, but we can have 2 celebrations for the harvest. I say, no, we cannot. We have 1 celebration for the harvest. If you want to have 2 rituals, then find another thing to make a ritual about. Then I'll do it. And he was like, oh. but he liked it because he liked that I was honest about it. And he also brag about it to other places of Viking reenactment in Denmark. Where he said, yes, Gudrun, she's making it the real way. She's always putting her heart in it, so it's true. It's not a theater, it's true. So, so in that way, it was really good.
Yeah.
So I always do it. I never do it as a theater. I will never do that.
Yeah.
The only thing we have sometimes when we have make some filming out there, and then they wanted to be a little bit more dramatic. So then we bought some blood to pour over the stone. But normally I will never do it. I will always, if I would like to use blood in my rituals, I always slaughter the animal with blood I use, so we can eat the blood also. So it's connected.
Yeah. Yeah. When they're filming, they like to make it theatrical. I did some TV work in the UK. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to talk about Viking food, and I talked about how it was mostly grain and vegetable based, so we could do like a vegetarian dish. And that's great, but we've seen that you can cook goat heads and you can cook blood breads and
yeah.
So they went with all that stuff instead.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shall we talk a bit about your book, your Ásatrú book?
Yes.
Because I be honest, I tried to get hold of a copy, but I can't get it shipped here in time for when we were recording.
Yeah.
So that's the one.
Yeah.
So I did have a look on Amazon. I've read your introduction, and I gather that your way you practice is slightly different, maybe to the way other people practice. Your intro says that you don't. It's not a guide as such. It's just telling people how you do things. So is it worth us talking a bit about that?
Yeah, for me, it's very important that there is no right way to practice Ásatrú. It's a personal thing, and the way you do it is as right as the way I do it. But I like to be an inspiration. I like to inspire people. And if they can use something from my thing, I will love it. And if they say it's bullshit, all of it, I don't care. Because it will not change anything for me. For me, it's the thing that being honest, that things come from the heart.
Yeah.
That is, for me, the most important things. And therefore, I would never use blood I have been to the butcher to buy in a blood, because it will only be show off. And I don't like that.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you about is whether there are any misconceptions about Ásatrú that you come across that maybe you'd like to stop people thinking, I guess.
Especially in the US, a lot of people think that Ásatrú is very racist based. And for me, nothing can be more wrong. I have friends, have really good friends in the US. His parents were from Italy, and he's raised as a Catholic, and he is Ásatrú, and he is one of the really, he's Ásatrú by heart. You can say he's really honest about it, and he's doing things. He's thinking himself. What can I do to make the gods happy? And he do it not by reading it in a guide, but by listening to his heart. I'm about to make a deck of oracle cards right now. They come out in a very short time. The artist who have made the drawings, he is born in Colombia. He is raised in New York. He's living in Denmark now, and he's so much into the Norse mythology and the Norse gods. I have friends in Brazil who are Ásatrú. I have friends all over the world. So it's nothing about racists. And I feel really sorry when people think we are racists. And also if people are misusing the Norse god to be racist. I hate it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
And some people say it's a very rough religion also. It's only for tough guys, and say, no, it's very soft also. It's very, it depends on from where you see it and the way you are practicing. Because you can practice it in every way you want. You don't have to go to Odin, for example. I have had some friends, they never ever made a blow to Odin because he was too selfish. So, but that was their choice. You can go to the Vanir, who are more, soft gods, I will say. You can go to the Jotuns. Some call them giants, but it's the chaos power of the nature. You can go to them. Nobody say you are wrong.
Yeah. I came across a little bit of, I don't know if I'd say friction in the UK with a couple of groups I was involved. I don't get involved with Ásatrú groups anymore. No. But I came across some problems where, because the way I saw it was not so much that the gods are physical, they're out there. They're more, I suppose, like a metaphor.
Yeah.
And to me, it was almost like when you're offering some mead, that kind of thing, you're almost being mindful of where these things come from, and kind of being respectful of the fact that, you know, mead comes from honey, which has a cost to it. But I came across, as I say, groups of people that didn't like the fact that I didn't believe that these gods were physically there and you could offer to those gods in exchange, I suppose, which to me, I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, that's more of a Christian idea. This idea, like, you pray to a god and the god's going to do stuff for you. I don't see the Norse gods in that manner.
Well, I would never offer something to the gods to make them do something for me. Because then you put the gods in a debt. And that is not good. I can go to them and say, okay, could you please help me with this? I have a great story. And it's also from Ribe, actually. This reenactor, he came to me one day. He said, well, Gudrun, can you help me after closing time? Say, yes, of course I will help you. And then he came, and he told me, he said, yes, that's because me and my wife, we had really hard time to get a child. And I went to Odin, and I said to Odin, if you give me a son, I will give you a horse. And now we have a son. I was like, oh no, do I have to slaughter a horse right here? Wow! But after closing time, he came down, and there was no horse with him, as I could see, but he has a big bag. And then we went down. There's a little more where we can, with the water, we can offer sacrifice things. We went down there, and off his bag, he took a horse made out of fabric. He has been making it himself during the winter. It was stuffed with hair from him and he and his wife, and from the kid and everything. And he wanted me to sacrifice that horse to Odin. And as a thank you for having the kid. So we did. We cut the throat and we put it in the moor and said thank you. And I really like the story, because he could have bought a horse, but it has been nothing. It has been not worth it. This he made so much effort in making this little horse. It was his time, and as you told me, said earlier, time is the most precious thing we have.
Yeah.
So I like that one. But for me, the gods, they're out there. I have met them when I have been in the Seder, so I know they're there, but they don't really care about us. So I think when we are aware of the gods, when I'm aware of Freya, I will be aware of the love, and for that I will attract love. So it's also pictures of myself. It's pictures of the nature. So being aware of the nature is a really good way to see the Ásatrú. But again, there's a lot of ways to see it, and no way is more real or more wrong than other ways, in my opinion.
So I guess we could wrap up this sort of chat on Ásatrú maybe by, have you got any advice for anyone that maybe is interested in learning more? Obviously, they can buy your book. Is one good way.
Of course, they can buy my book.
But I wonder whether there's a good kind of way that people should get into Ásatrú, the right way to do it, as far as you see it.
Be open and learn to listen to the inner voice. Learn to listen to the gut feeling. And also, it could be great to, of course, learn about the sources. Read the sources would be one thing. And there is a lot of books in English about Ásatrú, not about Ásatrú, about the Norse mythology. And could be good to go into that and then find out, how do I see it? And again, read books and listen to the gods. That would be not the gods, but the gods. Maybe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the same. They're intertwined.
Yeah, exactly. The gods talk to us through the gods.
Yeah. So as I mentioned to you before, I usually wrap up. I've got some questions that I ask every guest that are food related. So your guts is a good way to go with. Yeah. So before we wrap up, maybe you can tell me a bit about how you work with the healing practices.
Yes, the healing. I use my hands. That's one thing. I have what you call warm hands, so I can do something with that. But I actually have a very special tool. Back in 75, in Ribe, they have an excavation, and they found a piece of a skull, and there was runes on the skull, and there was a hole in the skull also, and they were very, what is this? And they read the runes. It said Ulvor, Odin, and Heitir. This hole is against pain, and the dwarf will be surrendered. And they were very, what is this? And they thought it was a trepanation because of the hole. But then they found out that the hole was made from inside. So it could not be a trepanation. And then they said, it's an amulet to hang around the neck, but it's as big as this. So it's too big, and there's no sign of it has been hanging. And I was like, I need one like that. So I made a copy.
Yeah.
I have it here. Don't know if you can see the runes.
Yeah.
And the hole.
Yeah.
And it is as exact as I could get it. The real piece is from here. This piece is from here. So that is a compromise. And I use it to take away headaches and muscle pains. I sing the runes. I sing them as a galder.
Yeah.
And when I have done that, I do like this.
Who is that?
That's my dog. He has never heard that before.
Yeah.
So he was really, and then the pain go away.
Yeah.
So it's very. I think it's not many that have a tooth like that.
So is that human skull that you've got?
Yes.
And the original was human skull.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So
I've
that
never
is
come across
kind
that
of a galdra. It's a kind of a galdra. You can say that.
Yeah. And that's what you believe the original would have been used for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saying that way that we don't know, but it works. So and I, I opened up, say, what is this? How has this been used? And I just got the idea to do it like that. And that is listening to your gut feeling.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that ties into what we were saying earlier as well about how you know whether these things were done historically. But if you're getting this knowledge from the spirit, the God that are bringing it to you, then in theory, the knowledge should be the same, right? I mean, it should be at least roughly a similar practice.
Yeah.
And if it works, it works. I mean,
it does. I had I did like that on a lecture I did once, and the day after I got an email from a lady, and she said to me she has a sickness. I can't. I always forget what it's called, but it's some nerves in the face that hurts a lot. Right. It's really, really painful. And she said to me when she came to the lecture, which was not only me, it was also Marion Dampagins, we should be on together. And she said the pain started, and she was like, no, I can't sit here for 2 hours with that pain, but I will stay as long as I can. And then I made the sound, and then she said she felt totally cold in her face, and then the pain disappeared. And it was through a microphone on a stage, so I didn't do it on her.
Yeah.
So it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting to think how that would work. Like you say, it's through a microphone. There's less connection.
Yeah. But
you kind of imagine these things needing that one-on-one connection, like.
Yeah, and that is normally what I do, but it also worked on her. So.
Did it work just for that one day, or was it something that she was?
Yeah, the pain came back the day after again, because if I could cure that, I could be a millionaire. So yeah. No.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. So there are 6 questions that I ask every guest just for fun, just to wrap up the show. I don't think you know what these are. I don't think you've heard the show before, so these are going to be. You're going to be blindsided a little bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
All right. So the first question is, do you think you could survive on a Viking age diet?
Yes, of course. I'll be fat.
Yeah. Is there any food you'd miss on a Viking age diet?
So I probably would like everything about it. I'm not sure, because I can easily live without potatoes, for example. So no, I would like it. I'm trying.
You did mention licorice.
Licorice, yeah. Well, with a connection to the south,
you could get something.
You could have dried licorice root.
You could, yeah.
Yes. And I actually once thought about it, because they have been imported so many things. So they could have imported licorice root. It's very sweet. People like sweet things. It's very light. Could be on the boats. And it disappears. It will not stay here.
Yeah.
So it was a possibility. But yeah, licorice, yeah. And chocolate. Yeah, chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate comes up a lot.
Yeah, chocolate, I would miss that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What is the weirdest thing in your kitchen?
And coffee.
And coffee. Oh yeah. Gotta have the coffee.
Yeah. The weirdest thing in my kitchen, you say?
Yeah.
It depends on who you are. But I think a lot of people think that the weirdest things in my kitchen, you mean what I'm cooking? I think it's the ram's testicles.
Yeah, that's quite weird.
Yeah, but it's lovely. I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it. But I think that is one of the weirdest things, and also the rotten shark from Iceland.
Oh, the hakal.
Yeah, hakal. Yeah, fermented
Yeah.
shark. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe the
You like...
surströmming.
Oh, you're not a fan of surströmming, are you?
Yo, I love it.
Oh no.
And very, very old cheese like as well. But yeah.
Ooh. There's a video on this channel going back. I don't know if it's the year before last now, but we opened a can of surströmming. And I took a tiny nibble. I mean, it's horrible. The smell and
No. Oh. Yeah, the smell is horrible. But you need to open it under water.
Yeah, we did that.
And then you have to take it up and let it stay for 10-15 minutes, and then you serve it with bread and potatoes and red onion and sour cream.
So we did all that, except we didn't wait 10 to 15 minutes after we opened it.
Do that.
So maybe, I don't know.
What about haukat? Can we eat haukat?
Haukat's fine. Yeah. I mean, I don't love it, but I can eat it.
Okay, I love it.
I find if you chew it for too long, it gets quite hot. It's almost like chili.
Yeah.
It's like the ammonia builds in the mouth and it gets hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
We've done episodes of this where we've just eaten what people say is the worst thing they've ever eaten, and just like it's terrible.
Okay, yeah. But ram's testicles are really good. I think I will say you could make a fake foie gras with ram's testicles.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I love foie gras. It has been a while and long time since I ate it, and I will probably never eat it again because I hate the way it's made. But the taste is absolutely gorgeous. But if you can have it out of ram's testicles, perfect.
I've never tried either of them. I'm not sure that I would want to.
Why?
I don't like the sound of them. That's for me, a lot of things like that, for me, it's not so much what it is. It's like a texture thing.
Yeah.
It's like I've eaten like raw egg white, and that it only has to hit the back of my throat and it comes back up again. And I think
but these are like, the texture is like the egg from the fish, that you boil. I can't remember the name of the fish, but you have a torskerogn in Danish, it's called. It's pretty hard. When you boil the testicles, they get pretty hard, a little bit soft, but the texture is not like an egg yolk. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So you should try that. I will invite you for that. Yes.
Last time I came to Denmark, I was invited to try horse. So like,
horse is fantastic.
We're building up the.
And that's also going back to the weirdest thing in my kitchen is also that I'm eating my own horse. That will, for many people, be very, very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not something we can easily get here.
No, it's also hard in Denmark, but I butchered my own horse, and I'm still eating him, and it's the biggest gift for both him and me.
Yeah.
Not throw him away.
Sure. So this next one might tie into some of the things you just mentioned.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever eaten?
The worst thing? Yeah, what is that? Well, I'm if it's the worst thing, but I don't know, because it tasted good. But the thought of eating bugs.
Yeah.
I will not eat bugs. I tried to taste it because I said to myself, I had to taste it. I have to admit that I liked it.
Yeah.
But no, I will not. It's not food for me.
Yeah. The ones I've eaten, I found were quite dry and powdery. There wasn't really much. They're slightly bitter, I guess, but there's not really much to them.
No.
I think they rely on having other flavors, don't they? Like you stir fry them and that kind of.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That might be why they tasted good. So I don't mind.
Yeah.
It's a worth thing.
Yeah. All right. What is the most memorable meal you've ever had?
The most memorable meal. I think it was many years ago. I was at a meeting for historical places in Denmark, and we had a meal made from medieval food. There was this lady from Denmark who made a cooking book, and she and a lot of people have made a lot of meals from that book, and it was served, and we were explained what it was. It was really, really nice. I think that would be the one, especially because this is 20 years ago, something like that. So, and I still remember.
You still remember, yeah. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the final question, the hypothesis is that when you die, your family and friends are preparing your grave goods. What food and drink do you get to take to the feast in Valhalla?
Horse and meat.
Yeah,
absolutely horse. That is the most holy food you can get.
Yeah. Would that be your own horse by choice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
So that will be that. I think that will be the answer. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time today and for coming on this podcast. Do you want to give yourself a quick plug, maybe where people can find you online, where they can find your books, that kind of thing?
I have a YouTube channel called Völva Gudrun, and also Facebook, Völva Gudrun. It's with this Danish letter Ø, so it can be hard to find. But the Völva Gudrun or the Völva from Ribe could also be an idea. I hope I can get a homepage someday. I have, but it's not built up, so find me there. But YouTube and Instagram, Facebook.
I know your books are on Amazon, I think, aren't they?
Yes, especially the Ásatrú book is on Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for listening or watching.
Before you leave, I want to give you a rune.
Oh.
See, take a rune for you and see which advice the runes have for you for this next year. Okay. This one came up. This one is Dajur. Dajur, yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dajur means day. And it tells you to use your time wisely. You should think about what you are using your time for. It should make you either happy or be very necessary. We are very tempted to do things just because we think we need to do it. We are tempted to make some fights just to have the fight. Stop it. Only take the necessary fights. Only do the things that makes you happy. And if you have to do the necessary things which are boring, try to make them funny. I put an audiobook in my ears when I do the dishes, for example, or have to clean. I hate it. But with an audiobook in my ears, then things go more smooth and easy. Or a podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
Lovely. If you stay on the call, I'm going to tell you something in a second, but I'll end the show first.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening or watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.